whooping mother. How the freaking. One flipping game. One flipping game. That's all you have to do is win one damn game. One damn game. What was so wrong about that? Was it that hard to win one game? Not even a run. You get shut out by the lowly Marlins. The lowly freaking Marlins. Are you fucking kidding me? It's hitting me now more than ever because after I saw how the Cubs just whooped the Padres, I'm like, oh my God, this is a team that if we beat the freaking Dodgers, if they were in there, they would have beaten the Dodgers. Oh my! Shoulda, woulda, coulda. And how the freaking hell do you lose to the lowly Marlins? How can you not beat the damn Washington Nationals? The Nats of all people, the Nats, the Nationals, the Washington Nationals, the freaking worst record in the league, and they couldn't even beat them. Oh, good. Oh, Jesus, I have no idea what to say. I have no idea. And the worst part is these guys were like, oh, well, okay, well, we lost. We got And now I'm reading everything about well, you know what? We were too good of a team on paper. These arrogant, entitled little bitches. Sorry for the language, but they were arrogant. Honestly, this is a case where this is why they play 162 games. 162 games. The fact that by June 12th, you have the best record, and I think that arrogance kicked in at them. It's we're good enough. We don't have to. We should be at the playoffs at this point. So who cares about the rest of the bloody season? We show that we're better than everyone. Not really. Oh my God. And the sad part about it is, I can't complain. There's no defending the Mets. There's no defending them. Freaking Sutter doing a stupid dance, and we can't do anything. And what do they do? And the freaking Reds, a team that played 500. In 07, yeah, it was a big collapse for us. But at the same time, this is a Phillies team that went to the World Series, so of course it made sense for us. It was one of those things where the Phillies were damn hot. They went up and they were in the series at that point. This is the case with the Reds. They lost their way into the playoffs. We did nothing. If we lost to the Marlins, okay, and the Marlins, because the Marlins, let's be honest, they were red hot. They were literally red hot until they started losing in the final week of the season. But that series would have made a hell of a lot more difference if the Marlins were still in it. If they actually swept the Mets, I'm like, all right, you know what? The Marlins deserve it because they whooped us. And they were red hot. Let's be honest. The lowest payroll in all the league beats us 2 out of 3 games. Knowing full well all we had to do was just win 2 games. 2 games out of them. And worst case is we can't even beat the bloody freaking Washington Nationals, who have the worst record practically. We couldn't even take 2 out of from them. It's put it this way. Next season, I have no idea what to expect because the thing is you got it's pretty much going to be the same team. If Alonso stays, it's going to be the same team. The problem is there's going to be a lot of things on them, but the problem is they're not going to have any pitchers. Dude, for some weird infractional aspect is they're going to say you know what? No, we're not going to sign pitchers. Why? High end pitchers. Why? Because hey, look, we signed Scherzer. We had Verlander. Look what happened there. We sucked in 2023. Yeah, it's true. But you know what? These guys are over the hill. I'm just losing it right now, honestly. I have no idea what to say because this is a case where the Mets actually... I have no idea what to say. I'm just it's starting to hit... It's starting to stick in now a little bit. Not stick in, but it's it's starting to hit me. It's starting to hit me now. And like this is one of the things where I don't know what to say or what to do. I kind of hate it. I really do hate this. Looking at the game before, and the fact of the matter is, like, they deserve to lose. They deserve to lose. If this is what it is, and like the worst part is the fact that we have to lose, and like the fact that the Reds lost their way into the playoffs. The Reds lost their way into the playoffs. It's not the fact that the Reds were red hot. No, they lost their way into the playoffs. Whereas we can't even lose our way into anything. If they were going to lose, they would have gotten the number 1 draft pick at least. I mean, because if this is the case, that this is how they're going to lose, I mean, I would have preferred them to be 0-162 at that point, because at least at that point, we get the number 1 draft pick. But the fact of the matter is, like, we had to, play with the fans' hearts, basically. It's like, hey, we have the best record by June 16th or mid-season. And then what happens? Oh, yeah, July, and yeah, let's just slide a little bit. And the thing is, like, there was no sense of urgency for these guys. I mean, that's the sad part about it. And, like, I would put it on Mendoza a little bit as well, too. But the problem is like, he felt so much to the point. It's like, oh, these are veterans. They should be able to figure it out themselves. We're too good of a team. Everyone was like ranting within the organization. We're too good of a team. We'll figure this out. They never figured it out. For 2.5 months, they never figured it out. I don't understand why they can't figure it out. These are guys that are overpriced players. These are, sadly to say, these are overpriced, overachieving, or underachieving, I should say, not overachieving, self-entitled, arrogant little pricks. Sorry for the language. If YouTube decides to, like, freaking ban me, so be it. Shadow ban me in a way, so be it for cursing. I mean, honestly, the fact that, like, the reason why I'm getting more angry is because of the fact, I mean, if the Dodgers, like, completely wipe the floor with the Reds, it's going to even be worse for us at this point. Because, honestly, we should be able to take out the Dodgers, quite honestly. The way the team was built, it should have been able to take out the Dodgers. The fact of the matter that the Cubs were able to beat the Padres the way they did today was, like, unfreaking believable. I'm like, are you serious? That was my biggest fear. Like, we were going to lose to the Padres. But if the Cubs beat out the Padres, let's be honest, the Brewers, they suck. They're not going to get past the first round. They're not going to go get past either the Padres or Cubs. So it doesn't matter. So most likely the Cubs are going to beat the Padres. They're going to beat the Brewers at that point, and then it's going to be between either LA or Philadelphia. And the thing is, like, I'm pretty sure that the Mets could have beaten Philadelphia as well, too. Like, the way they were playing against the Phillies as well, too. I think they had their number. Simple as that. They had their number. They had the Phillies' numbers. So this is what freaking pisses me off. It's like, this is a team where we were able to beat the Dodgers. We were able to beat the Phillies. We were able to beat the Cubs. We could have gone to the World Series if they got into the damn. If all they need to do is win one freaking game, and if not one freaking game, the sad part is all those stupid ass errors that they were doing in the field. Every freaking game, practically, especially in the last 2 months. I mean, 5 of those games, infield errors and outfield errors, and like being blasé about some of this crap. Losses because of those blasé errors, because of, all those mental farces they had, those stupid mental shards that they had. I mean, honestly, this is a case where, like, the Mets were, like, really, they did this to themselves. And the problem is like, Steve Cohen's like, yeah, we're gonna have a postmortem. You don't need a freaking postmortem. You could see what happened. Problem is, like, these players, there was no sense of urgency. Cohen didn't even bother to, like, get involved at this point. He decided to stay out of it this year, which I think was the problem, because, like, let's be honest. Last year, when he was being a little vocal, the team kind of responded a little bit. This year, he wasn't as vocal as he was last year. And because there was no high expectations there, the Mets were like, yeah, let's do this. Reality is, like, this is a team that should have done a lot this year. I think, granted, there was pressure on them because of, like, who they got and some of the, pretty much because of getting Soto and luring him away from the Yankees. It was like, all right, the offense should do really well. Vientos, who the freaking knows what the hell happened with him? Alvarez, honestly, I think he became too arrogant in and of himself that he had no he felt like, I have no competition, but, as a catcher, I'll be an everyday catcher. Reality is, you saw what happened. The moron on Saturday's game, he just let that ball fly on by. He was like, Ho hum, let me go get the ball instead of running after the damn ball to throw it, and then freaking and then Mauricio himself, the fact that he was never covering third base after Soto like screwed it up at that point. I mean, he would never about to cover, I mean, when Soto finally was ready to, Soto was like looking looking at him dead on at first base. He sees him running. Rather than throwing to the plate, you throw to second base. He doesn't even do that. I'm losing my temper now. It's like, ugh. I'm calming down a little bit. Calming down. This is the case where like the Mets. I don't know what you gotta do. The thing is like the lowest payroll in baseball was literally a game and a half away from making the playoffs. Literally a game and a half away from making the playoffs. While the second most highest payroll in the league can't even make the damn playoffs. It would have been interesting to see if the Marlins actually had made the playoffs. That freaking Stearns and Cohen is like, wait a minute, hold on, we're paying for all this talent, like this, we can't even get squat. Whereas a team that's got no ones make it into the playoffs. I mean, like, I hate to say this, but like, I know what Stearns was trying to do with what he did with the Milwaukee Brewers, and he was trying to do it with the Mets, but then he had like, it was like, hey, I got it on, paycheck and all that stuff. Problem is like he should have realized we needed pitchers. We needed unfreaking believable pitchers. We had none. Yeah, I can understand like thinking Senga and Peterson based on what they did last year. Hey, they should be doing really well, as well as Manea. I think I called it in the beginning of the season. I was like, it's great that they signed Manea, but I don't think they should have. I was afraid that, his pitchers, after he made his alteration to his pitch, they figured him out. And lo and behold, what happened? They did figure him out. And that's why he kind of started sucking. He reverted back to before the Mets signed him when he was with the Giants. High ERA, which is the case. And I have a feeling this is going to be next year as well, too. The sad part is like we signed him for 3 years, which was a stupid part in that part. Because I realized this is a guy that's going to get figured out at this point. Senga, he always does good in the first half, but when he gets injured, he's done. He needs a full recovery. And they said, oh, well, we rushed him back. Everyone says, like, yeah, Senga was doing really well until he got injured, and then, they rushed him back. It doesn't matter. The dude sucks every time he gets injured. After he gets injured, he sucks afterwards. For some reason or another, he needs a good 6 months before he comes back and does really well. And so the sad part is like, next year, Senga's not going to last a full 30 games. Don't expect him to last a full 30 games. The moment he gets injured, he's going to suck again. You got to build your rotation. You got to build a solid rotation. Now, McClain is that person. McClain's going to be there. He's probably going to be their new ace. He has to be their new ace. Tong, I have no idea what Tong is because we rushed him up too quickly. I'm hoping he goes back, builds himself back up in the minors to earn a spot back into the majors. Sprout, I think he's going to become the dominant number 2 as well too, honestly. Because why? Sprout was every time he levels up, he has diversity. He overcomes it. I think these two, Sprout and McClain, are the future of the rotation at this point. It's going to remind me a little bit more of like the Harvey DeGrom era, basically. That's what it's going to remind me of. And we need these two. And I think the question comes down to is like, Zach Gallen's going to be free. I think we need to sign Zach Gallen from the Diamondbacks. Why? Because he's got that sort of aura about him where like basically if we get him, I think he'll be that kind of quote-unquote mentor type of person, even though he's a little bit young, fairly young. But I think surrounded with the right people as well, too, I think they'll do good at that point as well, too. Question is with Mendoza, fact of the matter that they're going to keep Mendoza, I don't know if he deserves it, because honestly, it's just like the Buck Showalter situation as well, too. Like Buck Showalter gets it in, next year, honestly, I don't know. I think it's a case where, like, yeah, they got to replace half their coaches. Let's be honest, they got to replace half their coaches. The pitching coach, I don't know. It's hard to sell. It's hard to say, honestly, because he did well. He got a lot out of Holmes. Let's be honest, he did get a lot out of Holmes, a guy that was a reliever into a starter. And, like, yeah, he had quite a few, he had a few bad games here and there, but he was still decent. So the fact that he was able to get him and convert him a little bit and make him, valuable was good. Canning, same thing as well, too, before Canning got injured. And that's the sad part. After Canning gets injured, our whole rotation goes into disarray. That makes no sense. Canning is not your number one starter, and like somehow he becomes like the number one starter in your linchpin, and when he gets injured, that's it. I mean that made no sense whatsoever. I don't know. This truly is something that I did not anticipate. Honestly, like I was a guy that was expecting basically the. I'm losing it again. I'm about to lose it again. But reality is like, oh. I can see why Frank the Tank is actually one of those guys that gets really aggravated about this shit. They don't suck, but they deserve all the thrashing that they get. All the BS that comes down their way. The Mets, the players have no way of defending it. They have no defending of it. They got to accept it. They got to take it up the ass as they have to because, like, they deserve that. Because this is a team that should have won. Again, to reiterate, the Reds didn't win into the playoffs. They lost themselves into the playoffs. They lost themselves into the expanded playoffs. The Mets couldn't even lose into the expanded playoffs. That's the worst part about it. Everything they needed for Sunday happened except for them getting that win. Milwaukee beat the Reds. We needed the Milwaukee to beat the Reds, and they did. And what could the Mets do? Nothing. And the worst part is like, a week and a half ago, the Mets were up against the Reds by 4 games. All they had to do was win 2 more games, and then we're okay. No, couldn't even do that. We can't even beat the bloody Nats. We can't even beat the Nats for some stupid-ass reason. We can beat the Cubs for some reason, but we can't beat the Nats. This is not a case where, like, I'm sorry. Next year, Cohen has to get involved more, and so to the point of, it's like I want freaking unbelievable pitchers. All right, put it this way: if the Mets can get Skeens from the Pirates, if they ask for, hey, we want Brett Batty, we want Mark Vientos, we want Mauricio, we want Tong, we want Acuna, those 5 players, trade them. I don't care. Trade them. I want Skeens. Now, if they want McLean or Sprout, no. Now, those out of all the players that's on the roster right now, not the minors, but on the roster right now, Sprout and McLean should be untouchables. Tong, I want to say he should be untouchable, but he might. I don't think he's gonna be. He's not gonna be. Good great golly, miss. I forgot the dude's name again. Sorry, I forgot his name now. Tim Lincecum. I mean, I don't know why I was like drawing a blank with Lincecum, but like they're saying that everyone's like basically he's got the style of Lincecum, but the problem is like Lincecum was good for that short period of time that he had before all those injuries occurred. Tom, he's not proving it otherwise. I mean, like the fact of the matter is like he's got 1 or 2 pitches. He's got 2 pitches. That's fastball and his changeup, and like the batters figured him out very quickly. He's got to get in a curveball at that point and his breaking ball. He's not even confident in his breaking ball. Vientos, I have no idea what Vientos is going to do. Vientos has got to do something, randomly something to like make himself better. Honestly, if I'm the Mets, trade Vientos. I know you're afraid of Alonso leaving. If Alonso leaves, use Vientos. Vientos sucks. He's a defensive liability. Trade him. Trade him and McNeil. You got to trade these 2 guys. Trade McNeil for some prospects. Trade Vientos for some serious prospects, pitching prospects, that is. I mean, a lot of teams out there would love to have these 2 on their team, and I think they'll be willing to give up a lot of the good pitching prospects at that point. Specifically, trade him to the. I just say this, but you know what? Trade Vientos to the Rangers. Trade Vientos to the Rangers. We don't have to worry too much about it at that point. We have a couple kids down in the minors that can come up and do whatever at this point. But honestly, this is a case where the Mets did this to themselves. They did this to themselves. Not just the players, the coaches, manager, but the rest of the management as well too. Stearns did it himself as well too. I mean, yeah, I saw what he was trying to do by trading. I mean, yeah, it made sense at that time for trading for that bullpen, but looking back on it now, it's 2020's hindsight. Honestly, you saw the liability that the Mets had and their biggest weakness, which was the starting rotation, and he didn't do anything about it. He went for the bullpen, which he was bulking up for the postseason because he wanted to go by uh, pitching by committee, just like the Dodgers did last year, and that would have worked if the Mets made it into the playoffs. Possibly would have worked, but the problem is Helsley still sucked. Soto, he wasn't as reliable. Roger was probably the only one that was pretty decent enough. And then problem is Rogers is going to leave anyways. He's going to be gone. He's probably going to go to either the Dodgers. Rogers is going to be a Dodger, or he's going to dodge us and go to the Dodgers. Roger Dodger, or most likely to the, maybe the Yankees. I don't want to see him going to the Yankees. But it might make sense for him to go to the Yankees actually, or to the other team was probably the maybe the Astros. Probably the Astros. I would say. This is. I'll tell you this much. I'm going to be really pissed off if the Reds beat the Dodgers. If the Reds beat the Dodgers, I'm going to be really truly pissed off. This is a Reds team. No one that's batting over 267. There's no batter there's no hitter on that team that's batting over 267. No hitter on that team that's hitting that has over 25 plus home runs. No, I think the highest one is maybe 25, and that's it. No pitcher that has reached the 200 pitch mark or inning mark. No pitcher that has, I think, 200 strikeouts or something like that. No pitcher that has over 15 plus wins. No pitcher on that team. I mean, fact that you know what really irked me the most? Not only Sutter's stupid ass dance, but the fact that the Marlins had their post, World Series pose because the Mets were. Everyone was saying the way Darling and Hernandez was like, yeah, look at the Marlins, they're posing taking pictures as though they won the World Series. The Mets next year better wipe the floor with the Marlins as well as the Reds. When they wipe the floor with the Marlins, they better not lose any game to the Marlins. They've got to sweep every bloody game against the Marlins next year just to show proof otherwise. We don't like what you guys did to us. And when I'm saying sweep, I'm saying annihilate them. I mean winning 8-0, 10-0, 12-0, 20. Run up the bloody score if you have to. I want you to run up the score every single game against the Marlins. Similarly, same to the Reds. And when you're running up the score with the Reds, I want you to be dancing. I want one of those home runs doing the Suter dance when you're going rounding the bases and coming at home. I want you doing those stupid dances that Suter was doing, basically. I want them to do it right then and there because the Reds did not deserve to get in there, but they lost themselves into it. The Mets screwed it up. They screwed the pooch. Honestly, I think if I had a choice between the Reds, Giants, Diamondbacks, the Marlins, I probably would have preferred the Marlins to have won because at least they were winning. They were on a hot streak at that point. They were literally winning at that point. They had a better record than the Mets, the Giants, the Diamondbacks, and definitely the Reds as far as, since the All-Star break. They were one of the hottest teams at that point. And that's what I was afraid of the first time around when they were playing them 3 weeks ago. I was they're a hot team. I'm we're going to have problems with them. And what lo and behold, we had problems with them. That's why I was afraid. I was shoot, this is not going to be good. When we're ending it off with them, we're not going to do really well against this team. Ay. I need a couple of seconds for a second. Give me a second. I'll say this. The bloody freaking headphones. I'll say this much. The rotation, starting rotation, basically, they need to have basically just McLean is well, I shouldn't say that. Of the starting rotation, at least three people should be only be remaining at this point next year. McLean, Sprout, Peterson. Tong, maybe he's your closer because Diaz is going to leave. Diaz is definitely going to leave. He's gone. I hate to say this, but Diaz is gone. And that's the sad part, but he's going to leave. Similarly, Rogers is going to be gone. So I have a feeling Diaz is probably either going to go to the Cubs or he's going to go to the He's either going to go to the Cubs, Yankees, or he's not going back to Seattle. It's possible Seattle. He might go back to Seattle because you figure hey, this is better going there. But yeah, I don't know. Whatever. If Diaz does leave, convert Tong to the closer. Tong is perfect as a closer. He's your closer. I'll say this much. I will say this much. One highlight of the season was seeing McLean and Sprout coming up earlier than anticipated. I was thinking probably going to come up next year, but the fact that seeing them up this year was impressive to see that how they faced adversity and pressure within the organization and within the major league, while the rest of the team had no idea how to deal with adversity. They had no idea. Vientos, nothing. Nimmo, sadly, no. When your bases loaded and you can't even hit the damn thing, no. Alonso, you could tell he was going for that home run. When reality was we needed a single or a double. That's it. I'm going to say, yeah, Soto lived up to his end, but the problem is it's as though he was playing for himself. It's as though he was playing for himself enough for the team. Which makes me wonder a little bit, is this a man that plays for the team or does he play for himself? I mean, he definitely came for the money. Let's be honest about that. Is this a man that maybe not be a fit for the Mets? Because Marte, let's be honest, JD Martinez was the guy that was was the kind of leader in the room. He was definitely that leader in the room. Marte is not. Lindor and Soto, sorry, no, I'm not doing a 6-7. Please don't refer to me as doing the 6-7 shit. But in reality is between Lindor and Soto, you can have dual captains. That's not a problem. They can be dual leaders in the team. Yeah, granted, Nimmo and Alonso had maybe seniority as a Met. Maybe Alonso more so than Nimmo more so than Alonso because he was in the majors earlier than him. But Nimmo is not that type of person. He's not a leader type of person. You can tell he's not vocal about this kind of crap. Lindor, he's not going to be vocal. He's an easygoing type of guy. He's just play as it is, off the handle type of thing, and he doesn't really care too much. You can tell. I mean, even when him and when Baez came up, when him and Baez were playing together, there were times where Baez was going, and Lindor was kind of joining me out and thumbs downing the Mets fan base. I mean, that was a stupid move to trade for Baez, losing PCA, but I'm only tell about that. I'm hoping with Gilbert. I mean, honestly, I don't know why Stearns traded for Rogers, giving up that much. Because unless they know that Gilbert was not going to be producing, or they knew something that we don't know, I mean, I don't know. McGill, I would say this. He started to get better, quite honestly. I was surprised how good he was getting in the season until he became injured, until they got that injury. If he was good, that would have been great to see. I mean, honestly, I would love to see how he went off. Not went off, but went through if he finished the rest of the season. I think he could be, honestly, if it's McLean, Sprout, Peterson, McGill, Senga is your back-end fifth rotational guy because he's going to be injured. Let's be honest, he's going to be injured. So let's just put him as a number 5 guy. He's not your starting row. He's not your number 1 or number 2. Let's be honest. That's going to be McLean and Sprout. They're your number 1 and number 2. Tong could be in there, but if we lose Diaz, please put Tong as your closer because I think he'd be awesome as a closer. You could see he does really well as a closer. I mean, except for that one time, for that one inning, basically he sucked. I forgot which team it was, but yeah, the first inning he just like, yeah, against the Brewers. Sorry. Oh. Yeah, I've got nothing else. I mean, this is. I mean, if you if you're sending me a chat or a comment on the live, I'm sorry. I'm using OBS. It upgraded and like had issues connecting to YouTube chat system basically, so I don't see the chats. But once it becomes permanent, you're welcome to leave a comment. Then I'll respond to that when it warrants a response. Outside of that, I hate to say this, but like, yeah, this is. I didn't mean to go all Frank the Tank on you guys, but this is a case where like it just started hitting me after I saw the Cubs Padres game. I'm like, it pissed me off. I'm like, this could have been the Mets. They could have had the number one wild card seed. Hell, they could have had the number one seed overall or number two seed at least. And I hate to say this, but you know what? If Mendoza does stay, there's been talk that he was talking about like bringing Willie Randolph back as a bench coach. I think that would be really good because Willie Randolph would be a good bench coach. I think he knows enough and he's learned that he could be a good bench coach and can help Mendoza at that point. And then from there, use that as a springboard to go become a manager somewhere else. Similarly, if not Randolph, Beltran, the guy that was originally supposed to be the manager for the Mets, ended up not. For that time being, and then they went to Buck Showalter. Maybe you put in Beltran as your bench coach because Beltran is definitely. I'll say this: Beltran is definitely a player's coach. He understands the players. He relates to them. He'll know. I mean, let's be honest. He was in those same situations, especially in 2006, when he just stood there, let it go, whiffed on by. He was that superstar. We didn't pay him for that just to like take a pitch like that. At least Lindor grounded out. I would have preferred if it would have been interesting to see if Lindor had gone on base or popped out instead of going into a double play, and it came down to Juan Soto. Let's see what Juan Soto would have done if it would have been a strikeout, or if he would just like caught looking. That would have been interesting to see as well too, honestly. But yeah, in any situation, I want to say this, and I'll say this once. Steve Cohen needs to reevaluate himself as an owner of the Mets. Does he want to get involved or does he want to be hands off? If he's just going to be hands off, then shut up, don't apologize and put it on X. There's not a necessity for that. Because earlier in the year or last year, you were pissed off at the fans for not coming, and then we showed up, and this is what we were rewarded with. If you're going to be like this, then get hands-on at that point. You weren't hands-on at this point. You weren't even showing. When all the adversity was going down, you could have been vocal about it. It could have been a kind of like a major league type of situation where the players hate you and like, you know what, we're going to shut him up and just win the whole fucking thing. Sorry for the language. Could have won the whole thing. But, that's there. It's done. So that's what I'm saying. It's like to Cohen, advice to Cohen. I'm going to leave Stearns as is because I think he's learned. I'm hoping he's learning. He better have learned and he better get better pitchers. And when I mean better pitchers, not project pitchers. Not your bloody project pitchers. Don't lose the analytics and get these stupid ass freaking pitchers that are like rejects and thinking like, hey, they could do something for us. No. Do not go like the whole Moneyball Billy Bean crap of thing basically for pitching. That Billy Bean had Mulder, Zito, and Hudson. They were unfreaking believable pitchers. These were not reject projects that they brought on board. You better have some good damn pitchers. If you're gonna get some pitchers. And I mean, when I mean pitchers, I mean dominant pitchers. It shows. The 2015 Mets proved it. They had no offense. The pitching was what they got to the World Series. The problem was they had no offense at that point, and it shows. Offense wins you World Series, but defense gets you in there. That's the thing. Let's be honest. That's what gets you in the World Series. Defense brings you into the World Series. You play small ball, you'll get in there. Then you just figure out the offense. You get the offense, and that should be all good at that point. We have enough offense. We need the defense. That's what it comes down to. I hate to say this, but like if McNeil's going to be a liability, if Batty's going to be a liability, if Vientos is going to be a liability. Get him out of there. Get some players there that can be defensively good. If your center fielder, Taylor was good as a center fielder. He got injured. You got Mullins. He did squat. Bring in someone else. Soto is good enough as a fielder as well as Nimmo. First base, I hate to say this, but like, yeah, you need Alonso, or Alonso becomes your DH. Because honestly, he's going to be defensive liability as well too. Murcia, I'm hoping he learned from this. Murcia and Acuna, I hate to say this, but like Acuna should be your second baseman. Then let him be your second baseman because he can be a good second baseman defensively speaking. Him and Lindor. I think Lindor is now gonna figure it out himself, and he's like, you know what? These were way too bad. This is a Gold Glover. He's probably gonna go for his Gold Glove for next year. I could see it. You could see it in his eyes. He was pissed off. I was like, this is not what should have happened. He figured they would pick it up with the offense. They didn't. I think he's gonna realize, like, you know what? I gotta go back to defense. Acuna, I think he's gonna. I mean, I hate to say this, but like, if you're not gonna trade Acuna, then put him at everyday second baseman. At least he's good as a defensive player at that point. He might be an offensive liability as a batter, but if once he gets on base, you got. I mean, honestly, I'm a little surprised that the Mets were like really stealing bases left and right. That's a surprise. That's a real surprise, and I was pretty mad impressed about that. Everyone's like, oh no, you're giving it out away. No, you're not. Those steals were good. They basically pressured the pitcher a little bit. I know. In any case, I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. I'm sorry for my rants. It's just hitting me now. I have a feeling like at the end of the week, it's going to hit me even worse. And I'm just going to be like to the point where like I want to punch a hole in the wall, but I'm not going to do that. But in any case, I'll leave it at that. If you like my video, please hit the like button. If you like my channel, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed. If you leave a comment in the comment section when this becomes permanent, please leave it. I do read them all and do respond to them all when they want a response. Again, if you did send a message, I don't see it through OBS. If I do it through my phone, I probably should go live through my phone, honestly. But the only reason I'm using OBS is because it's supposed to send it to not only to YouTube, but also to Twitch. But Twitch is not even working now. So I might, the other factors is like, one nice thing about it is like, at least with OBS, you can go from one camera to another camera basically. Because like in situations with YouTube Live on the web version, you can't switch cameras. So that's one of the nice things where I can basically go off in all three situations basically. Like I can have 3 cameras at me at once. So, but with that, I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered, and then of course always unrehearsed. Until next time.